This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and a very special guest joining us today. We spoke with this gentleman a year ago. He joins us from the Bahamas, where 1 year ago this month, the islands there were just devastated by Hurricane Dorian. And this is Howard Armstrong. Howard's story was told on CNN, and it was an incredible story, heartbreaking. But Howard is a champion. He's a true profile in courage. And I've had the good fortune to know Howard now for the last year. How are you, Howard? How you doing?
I'm hanging in here, Tom. Life is different.
Yeah. I know that. Maybe when was it? Around October, November. Maybe you got a trailer that you're in now. You're as we see behind you, or you're in it, and
Right. I'm in the trailer. I've been in this trailer now approximately 4 or 5 months, I think. I think that's about right.
Yeah, and so you're able to kind of have a place to go to sleep at night. That's
Well, yeah, this has been absolutely great. Without this, I'd have been lost.
Yeah.
This was the best thing that ever happened. This trailer. For sure.
Well, that's great. I'm so glad. I know that our fearless leader, Gigi Stetler, here at the RV Advisor, obviously was able to get that over there, and I'm glad that you're benefiting from it. Tell us exactly where you are on the islands.
I'm over the Casuarina Bridge here in Grand Bahama, the Lucayan Waterway, they would call it. The Casuarina Bridge is our bridge to get over here. So we say we live over the bridge. When anybody asks me, where do you live? I live over the bridge in Grand Bahama.
Bahama. Yeah. Originally, you're from England.
Yes, I was born in England. My father brought me to the Bahamas when I was 6 years old, and I've been in Freeport ever since.
Wow, so you're practically a native there then, and
oh yes, I am. I'm a Bahamian citizen.
Yes. Now you don't have dual citizenship. You don't have British citizenship, or do you?
No, I don't. But they say you can get it back. You never can lose it. Well, I don't know. I never actually.
You never really inquired. That's okay. It sounds like you're doing fine with a Bahamian citizenship. Howard, this, obviously your story made world news about a year ago, and tragically, I know that you lost your life. Your wife lost her life in the storm. It's just tragic, but you did have some sense of closure as you were able to. They did find her, and you were able to identify.
Yes, they found her 6 weeks later. I'm one of the lucky few, actually, because a lot of people just got swept away, and they've never found hide or hair of them since. They did have a memorial at the bridge for a handful of people that lost their lives up this way on East End. They put a memorial there with a plaque, and my wife's name's on it, which was very nice. That just happened only about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. I know things have been very difficult there in the islands because just aid getting there, and I know a lot of things are. Well, you and I got to chat a bit yesterday, and we were talking about the new normal, which isn't necessarily mean a better normal, because I know that you've said that you just going to the store is a mission sometimes with the lines and everything, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Still, a year later, and
well, let me cut you off, Tom. You see, most of the places got flooded, and then mold set in, and they're only working under skeleton way here.
Yeah.
It's the virus that came along and really slowed it down after that.
Yeah. Right on top of that, and just
right. Well, they never came back 100%. They're just it's like living a hurricane all over again now.
And speaking of which, just to add insult to injury, you had Hurricane Isaias come through, kind of between a tropical storm and a hurricane blow through there over the weekend, and I know you had to tie down your trailer. And
right, I didn't know what would happen to this. I went on YouTube looking, and knowing I don't think it'd been through it, a hurricane in a trailer on there, but I did tie it down, and it didn't tip over. But we didn't get the weather that we thought we were going to get either.
Well, that's good. And I know I got a message from you a couple days ago saying we got through it okay, and I was relieved to hear that. And you and I have gone back and forth several times since we first met in August of last year, and we check in every now and then and see how things are going. And I'm glad to hear that you weren't able, that you didn't have the weather you expected, and that you were able to secure everything, and you're okay, and that the trailer remains intact and you're home.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. It would have been so easy to lose this trailer. I see it, and if a storm comes, these things,
Sure. Well, yeah, not the optimum place you want to be in a hurricane, obviously, but fortunately, this one it was spared this time, and you got through it. Tell us about the trailer. I know that we sort of took a tour the last time, or we were talking. When you and I spoke on the show, you had yet to receive it at the time, but I know that you've got a bedroom and a kitchen, galley kitchen, and everything you kind of need to function there. A couple of incidents over time, though, with the refrigerator and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's small things. Yeah. But, the refrigerator and the hot water tank went. But we're just dealing with salt water over here. I mean, even to take a shower, the soap doesn't lather up. You can't rinse your hair with shampoo. Hot water right now is not a problem, but I imagine in the winter, hot water will be a problem.
Yeah. It'll be, another challenge. Your story, again, we talked about it, and we'll take a quick break, but I want to chat a little bit about what you endured in the first time around with Hurricane Dorian, and a little bit more background on you and the kinds of the work you do and other things. So we'll chat about that on the other side. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. My guest is Howard Armstrong. My name is Tom Alexander, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, RV owners and those thinking about owning. Want to maximize the fun and minimize the hassle of buying an RV? You need GPS. It's Gigi's personal service. Our $350 package gets you me, the expert advice, and a host of outstanding services. Visit thervadvisor.com.
Welcome back to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and my guest is a true profile in courage. It's Howard Armstrong, who joined us just about a year ago. Howard, your story was told worldwide on CNN, and one of the many who suffered tremendously during Hurricane Dorian. And it's obviously you had a great loss. Not only almost everything you own, but your wife unfortunately didn't make it during the storm. What was tell us about the preparation, just and how quickly everything came in, and just the reaction time and all that.
Well, Tom, we'd lived these hurricanes before, and we didn't think much of them. We'd had water come up, but it never really came in the house. So we figured, well, if it ever comes in our house, it'll go in everybody's house as well. That's the way it went. The storm was coming, and just like this one we just watched now, you're watching it for a week. Is it going to hit you? This and that, and boom, boom, boom. Are we staying in the house? Well, we stayed. That night we hunkered down. The weather was coming down, and it was like 5 o'clock the next morning when the storm actually hit us. The water came up so quick that within 2 hours it was halfway up the sliding glass doors, and it wasn't really in the house at that time. But then by the time it got over the bedroom window, something bust the window out in there. I think it was the guy's boat from across the road. After that, all that water came in the house, and it was just like a washing machine with debris flying around, refrigerators floating, gas bottles, hot water heater. Everything that could float bust loose. And anything wood disintegrated. It was like a washing machine. Imagine a bucket of water in the back of your truck, and you're going down a bumpy road, and it was sloshing around inside, and you were in it. That's about how it was.
Paint a picture in terms of the terrain. I mean, are you in a little bay area, or are you right on the ocean?
No, I'm on a canal system in here. I'm in the back in a small area. Right. I'm not in the ritzy canal area. I'm on a finger that comes off. It's about 6 miles from the ocean.
Okay.
It takes almost an hour to get out of here to the ocean. But we have the water from the north side and the south side. Well, when the tide is high on the south side, it's low on the north side, vice versa.
Right.
So that has a big thing to do with it when a storm comes, because if the water's coming back up against the wind, actually it gets, it comes up higher, obviously.
Right.
Refresh my mind here to tell you something, because there's so many things I can tell you.
It really, we're just trying to get a sense of the urgency and just really how impactful the storm was. I mean, it just seemed like you painted it perfectly. I mean, when we were standing on top of the stove in the end. Hours had gone by then. My wife had hypothermia then. Her teeth were chattering and everything. I had somebody call me. That's the last call I ever got. And I asked them, it was actually a police inspector that has a house in the neighborhood. And he wanted to know how we were doing. And I says, man, could they come and get us? And it was too late at that time. All hell broke loose after that. That was it. Wow. And of course, the winds.
That's when by then my wife had she had hypothermia and she drowned. Obviously, she took a mouthful of water in the end. I had to flee and get out of the house. I swam under because the water came all the way over the roof of the house. And I swam out to my boat that was anchored in the canal. And I managed to get to it, and I spent the rest of the night on there before I came back in the morning, to where I had some neighbors that were hanging on the telephone pole out in front of my house that had made it to the side of my house. The water was going down then. It was still about 3 feet deep in the house, but they were here. I could hear them shouting to me at daylight. They'd seen me shining a light around.
Wow.
There was just so many people that it had happened to, because everybody stayed in their house out here.
Wow, just unbelievable, and it's hard to believe it's already been just about a year since all that occurred.
They had jet skis were coming around rescuing people that had known people with jet skis. They were coming to them, obviously.
Yeah.
And I got a ride out of here on one, and when I got to the bridge where they were launching them, the police and things were there, and they were taking people to the shelters.
Mm-hmm.
I got another. Well, that call will just go off. All right. They were taking people to shelters. At that time, I was under shock, they say, and I didn't get back out to the house for a couple of days after that, but there was a lot of looting, and they were stealing everything that was around.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a byproduct of these kinds of...
Right. And I actually got out of here and went to Nassau.
Yeah.
And I got a free flight to Nassau, and where I was put up in, somebody put me up in a hotel. They donated a room to me.
Right.
And I stayed there for a couple of weeks before I came back here. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got back here, everything was pretty well stolen from in the yard that was littered everybody else's stuff around and this and that. Yeah. But I was more important looking for my wife at that time.
Right.
And I had done a lot of rooting through the bush, and I'd found a debris track, and I thought maybe if I went through there, this and that, but I found a few of my belongings miles away, 3 and 4 miles away from the house. I was actually on a good trail there. Wow. I went there for weeks. But anyway, they did find my wife's body 4.5 miles from the house, not in the place where I was looking.
Yeah.
And the same day that I actually met you on the phone was the day that they had found my wife. And I was at the newspaper letting them know.
Yeah. No, I remember that, and you were able to ID, and I can't imagine that.
It was terrible, Tom. And then, see, the worst thing was I had to go down to identify her. Well, everybody's asking, how did you identify her? Well, she had a hip replacement. And somebody had said to me when I was looking for her and couldn't come up with her and this and that, they were going, well, how are you going to find her? Because they were putting them in trailers, freezer trailers, the bodies. And I said, well, she had a hip. They said, somebody told me, what about her hip replacement? So I went to the hospital and found the doctor that did the hip replacement. Then I went to the police station, and it was a week later, I got a call, and they told me to come down. Would I go and look at the corpse? Well, I did. And it was pretty scary, but it's funny because as soon as I saw her and I saw the hip and a little bit of hair on her head and her teeth were still there, I was at peace after that.
Well, it was at least closure.
Total different thing. Yeah. I didn't bawl my eyes out every day like I used to.
Yeah.
And I lived down at the marina there in a bad way, and then the trailer came, which was a savior. And then shortly after that, my daughter passed away on me, which was another big blow.
Yeah.
And that happened on June the 19th.
Just recently, just a little more than a month ago.
She was only 37 years old. She helped me a lot with a GoFund and everything. She was on the ball for me, but God bless her soul, she's gone. I couldn't.
I'm so sorry to hear
her go and see her or anything due to the virus.
The virus, yeah. Well, the thing that's for the folks that are watching this and listening to this, it is the last year is to say hasn't been tragic is has been tragic is an understatement. It's been certainly more than that. But you, every time I talk to you, I'm inspired by your stamina and also your energy, and the overall spirit that you have, because you keep going, and despite all these, what to a lot of us would feel like insurmountable things, challenges, you keep going, and it's an inspiration to me. And I love to talk to you, and I love hearing from you. And I got to tell you, I've only known you for a year, but I can honestly say you're one of the most inspiring people I think I've ever met in my life. It's just an amazing story of a human spirit, just barreling through, man. It's amazing.
Now with all these deaths from this virus and people not even getting heard of, and when I think about it now, putting it up against my position that I was in the hurricane situation there, it's anyhow.
Well, look, every day you seem to, you get closer to what's going to hopefully be brighter days. And I know that, normally you do a lot of fishing, you work in the fish industry. And
well, I was in that crabbing, trapping and what have you. And my boat was down last year. I did engines out of it and everything. I'd only just got them in a week before the hurricane came. I lost the transmission in my shed. I never did find that. Mm-hmm. Then I finally got a transmission. It was the wrong one, and it was one thing after the other. And I did get back to the crabbing before, the season ended in May. I got up there and I got out and put my traps out and everything, thought everything was going to be honky-dory, and then the virus came down and they closed everything down. So
right.
all that effort I put into that, getting back up to make some money, it backfired there. And, not that you really need any right now, except for a couple, some food, and you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And as far as putting houses back together and trying to rebuild, it's such a iffy thing due to a flood zone. Right. We're in a very low-lying area, and now we're just seeing that these things are just going to keep coming. And what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, I can say one thing. If you have an attitude, an outlook, and a spirit like yours, you got a heck of a chance for making it. Because I'll tell you, you certainly exhibit all those qualities. And work will return, and we're going to get past this. There'll be a vaccine. I'm hearing some encouraging news on that front as well. It won't be here tomorrow, but hopefully very, very soon. So we're working toward it. And listen, Howard, full well, anytime, call us. You're more than a friend of the show. You're family to us, and it means an awful lot. And we really care about your well-being. And we always want to hear from you. And
well, what you guys did for me, I'll never forget it. That's
sure. I put that wholly on Gigi Stetler. That was her.
I never got to meet her, or
hopefully you
even
will soon.
Know what she looks like. I don't even know what she looks like.
Well, hopefully you will soon, and we'll get you back on the show. Maybe we can get Gigi to join us. That would be great. And,
I'm out here pretty well by myself, and now through these lockdowns, I'm just me by myself, and I keep looking at what I had and come back, and then you just, it's just, it's a vicious circle.
Well, we hope that we can get things to turn around, and you're on, again, you're always a phone call away, WhatsApp away, or a text away from checking in, and we'll continue to check in with you as well, my friend. And thanks so much for coming on. It meant an awful lot, and I think a lot of people will be really interested in hearing your story. Thank you.
Yeah, I would have liked to have got over there to meet you guys, which was in my plans, but they don't want us coming to the United States right now. Well,
I understand.
I can. I understand too. And
we're not going too many places ourselves, so we'll as the saying's been said over and over, we're all in this together, and we are. And you stay well, and we will meet. We will meet in person. I'm very confident of that. And stay well. Much love to you, and be well. And we'll talk soon. Thanks, Howard.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all those people that helped me in all different ways. When I get back on my feet, maybe I can do something. And I'd like to say special thanks to Captain Billy Black, who took me in for 2 weeks in the States. He didn't have to do that, but he did it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Captain.
Okay.
All right, sir. Well, that's it. We do appreciate your time. You're watching and listening to the RV Advisor podcast. Thanks for checking out our story today, our follow-up with the one, the only Howard Armstrong. My name's Tom Alexander. Thanks.
Let me just show you a picture of my wife quick.
Oh, sure. We could do that. So for our viewers...
I don't have much pictures, but there's one picture of her. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah, we see that. Oh, yes. There you are. There's the two of you in your home. There you go. Her name was?
Lynn.
Lynn. Her name was Lynn. Okay. There she is. There they are.
I
Lynn
miss
and Howard.
her, boy, I tell you.
I know you do. I know you do, my friend. All right, sir. Well, listen, we'll talk again very, very soon. Be well, and thanks for watching and listening to the RV Advisor podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. So long, everybody.